This has to be one of my favorite new details in Mario Kart World. No, not the traffic itself, but how you can look inside individual vehicles and see the drivers themselves. Hey Toad! What's up, Koopa Troopa? And I see you, Shy Guy. Even buses are now visibly loaded with people too, including the driver, of course. It's all very cute, and I'm far from the only one that feels this way, as over 75,000 people like my tweet about this detail. So needless to say, it's a huge upgrade from the completely opaque windows found in Mario Kart 8. Which, by the way, how's that level of tint even street legal? In any case, that's not the cool bit. Because, what if I told you that Mario Kart World isn't actually the first game in the series to do this? And no, I'm not talking about those annoying convertibles in Coconut Mall. What I'm talking about is quite a bit cooler, as it predates Mario Kart World by decades, while also involving a secret character that hasn't been seen in the entire series since then. Welcome to Cool Bits, where we spotlight hidden Easter eggs and secret details that you probably missed. And for this one, we have to travel back in time nearly all the way to the series' roots with Mario Kart 64, which wasn't just the first 3D entry in the series, but also happened to be the game that introduced the idea of traffic at all. This is the original Toad's Turnpike, a bustling expressway filled with all kinds of vehicles, including cars, a variety of trucks, and buses too. And although it was beautifully updated for Mario Kart 8, it also lost one really fun detail in the process. But for that, let's turn our attention to the buses found in the original game, as they're shockingly detailed for the era, and not just because of the neat winged emblem on the hood. Instead, if you look close, you might just notice you can actually see the bus's interior through the windows, such as the curtains that flank not just the rear window, but all the passenger ones as well. You can even see the seats inside too, and what might be tray tables? Okay, so that's neat and all, but it's the frontmost side window that's the most interesting by far, as if you slow down and take the time to look inside, you'll spot that the driver is actually visible through it, more than 25 years before Mario Kart World would make that a standard. And that's not all, as you can also see what appears to be his radio and steering wheel too. Yeah, Nintendo didn't monkey around when it came to the details. Except for one big thing. That ain't no human, but instead is a monkey wearing a hat. And not just any monkey wearing a hat, but this monkey wearing a hat, being Ukiki from Super Mario 64. Okay, now I know what you're thinking. Hey, couldn't that driver be Diddy Kong instead? He's also a hat-wearing monkey after all.
Good guess, but actually no. Sorry.
Because here's the thing, Nintendo's actually clarified exactly who that driver is, specifically in a guide for the game that can still be found on the official Japanese website, which when translated states, the highway bus driver silhouette is the monkey from Super Mario 64. So yeah, that's definitely Ukiki, who was a relatively obscure character at the time, although he, or at least his species, has gone on to make plenty of cameos over the years. Though oddly, never again in the Mario Kart series itself. Not even in the Yoshi's Island track, which is a bit surprising considering that Yoshi's Island was technically a species' very first game appearance, coming out a year before Mario 64. And speaking of years, did you catch the one final bus detail that we haven't mentioned yet? Just below the entry doors is a mysterious looking number, which if you look closely reads 1996. Which isn't just the release year for Mario Kart 64 in Japan, but also the Nintendo 64 and Super Mario 64 as well. Which makes a lot of sense given the driver's origins from that game. Huh, now that I think about it, maybe that's why he doesn't stop the bus whenever Mario crosses his path. He's out for blood after Mario rightfully took his hat back from him. Alright, you little sociopath monkey, I got my eye on you! In any case, the fact that Mario Kart 64 did something like this first, decades before the series would eventually return to the idea, while also involving a unique cameo that hasn't been seen again since, is one pretty darn cool bit. Especially as it was such a unique detail that you can't even see it in the high quality pre-rendered art of the track. And speaking of pre-renders, hold up, we're not done here yet, as there's one more thing that Mario Kart 64 secretly did first before any other game in the series. And no, it's not the comic book style words that appear on screen to emphasize important sound effects, although I am very happy to see it finally back in Mario Kart World as well. Instead, this actually concerns another Cool Bits episode I made recently, all about how Mario Kart Double Dash has a secret connected world, where you can see some racetracks in the backgrounds of others, giving the appearance of a giant connected world, more than 20 years before Mario Kart World had fully realized the idea. But as it turns out, Mario Kart 64 might actually have been the first game in the series to tease this very idea. If we head on over to Wario Stadium and look into the background, we can see, well, absolutely nothing, as the stadium walls are way too high. However, if we look at the official pre-rendered art for the track, such as on the track selection screen, we can see that it's actually set within a city, with some distant buildings found in the background, which is reinforced in another official pre-render of the track found in the instruction manual. But what if I told you that we're not looking at just one Mario Kart stage, but two? Because if we zoom in along the left edge, you might just spot the rooftop of a familiar building. Yep, that's the one and only skyscraper map from Mario Kart 64's Battle Mode, which you can see clear as day, or night in this case, was itself set within the city. Now unfortunately, beyond the city connection, there is actually nothing in the game itself that concretely connects these two tracks, as you can't actually see them from one another in-game. But when it comes to the official lore, they're practically neighbors. And it's pretty wild to think that the idea of a connected Mario Kart World had been flirted with all the way back in 1996, nearly 30 years before Mario Kart World. So I have to say it again, that's one, or two now I guess, pretty cool bits. And it's fun to see how many supposedly new elements from Mario Kart World secretly had their premiere back in Mario Kart 64, a game that was apparently well ahead of its time. And that wraps up for this episode of Cool Bits from Mario Kart 64. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting me on Patreon or with a YouTube membership for early access to future episodes, exclusive perks, and tons more, including getting your name in the credits of our special features. And with that, thanks so much for watching, and make sure to click that subscribe button for more cool bits and other fun features too. Until next time, this is Andre signing out.